All right. So I'm trying to create a new table now. Do I have a table already created, books, and the schema for the books is the table structure is ID names and email. And I want to also create another employees that has the same structure. So I've okay, I've executed it. Yet. Yeah, so now I have the table created. So let me read the table now so that you can see that there's table nothing there. So now this is the empty table. So now let's insert into the table. So insert, I'm going to say insert into the name of the table and then the structure in which I want to insert. So this time I'm only going to insert the email and name because the ID is automatically filled. So I want to add value to them, to the table. So I'm just going to say name, just going to say, maybe semi, I'm going to say semi, gmail.com. I'm going to say, this name just comes into my brain. I don't want to think too much about anything. So now, okay, so I'm just going to add these two entries. Just going to run this, and now I have two entries in the table. So check this now. Now I have two entries in this table, and I also have two entries in this table. All right. So I want to use union and union all. But first, I'm going to add a duplicate of this first table there. So let me see if I still have the inserts that I used to insert that was in there. I'm not so sure about that. Okay, I do. I'm just going to add this here. And I'm also going to add it to this last one. Just going to add. So the goal is that we now have three values here, or three rules entries, however you want to put it. And we also have three entries here. And one of those entries is a duplicate. So each of these have like a duplicate entry. So that being said, we want to use union and union all on this table. So what is the basics of using union? You need to ensure that the table that you want to add union and union all to have the same structure. So if you look at this, the structure of this table, you see that they have the same column names, but they have different values except for the duplicates that they share. So this and this right here. Are we together?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're going to use union to join these two entries together. So I'm just going to copy this, Ctrl C, paste it right here, copy the other one, and then paste it just right next to it. And I'm going to say union. So if I run this now, sorry, let's focus on this. If I run this now, we see that these two entries were joined together.
Employee, employee, and also. Okay. Okay. But why
Okay,
is Balogun repeated twice?
yes. So this is being repeated because they are being joined on the ID names and the values are not the same thing. Do you
Okay,
understand?
union is to join. Okay, yes, remember
Now,
set union
the
is
aim of
everything
this
inside.
is to join these two values, these two records together, right? Union. But on a normal grounds, this Balogun is not supposed to be repeated because it's a duplicate, right? But SQL is looking at the duplicacy of all the items. For example, now if I had to manually like insert the entities now, one see me and then see me at Gmail. Then if I had another one see me at, let me just add another entry so that you understand what I'm saying. I'm just going to run this again. And if you look at these employees now, you see that now I have two entries of this, right? Now, if I run this now, you can see that I don't have the same values because this makes it different. The ID part makes it different. Now, what sense is that on a normal ground, union is not supposed to return duplicates at all. But union is not seeing any of these as a duplicate because they have something different, which is that ID. But if we eliminate ID column, we will not be having these duplicate names. I don't know if that makes sense to you at this time around.
Okay, yeah, I'm trying to grab what you're saying.
See if I can. I don't want to use a table that is too big. And
But
I don't think
employees
any of
have
these
many datas now.
it
Why are
doesn't
we
have
just
this.
having few datas under employee?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Employee has many data, so why are we using few datas under employee? Like, why is it showing few datas?
No, employees is just a table I just created now.
Okay. I thought it's that one that has that PP that I'm saying.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I was thinking, I'm seeing some that employee. Show up, let me show you. Show up a bit. A bit. A bit. Okay, I'm just saying it. Okay. I was thinking you're using this human resources employee and versus
No, I'm
employee.
not using Adventure Works. I created a new table.
Okay. Okay, you can proceed.
Now, this is only being repeated because SQL is saving this entity differently because there's no duplicate of this. Now, if I manually insert maybe semi here, maybe I say one, and Adekunle here is I think two, right? And then I put ID here. I think this is going to give me an error anyway.
Sure.
But let's see.
To give you an error because you didn't want the program here. You didn't run it well.
No, it's not giving me an error because I didn't run it. It's only giving me an error because I already said what's it called? SQL should be the one to generate the identity number for me. So now I'm now manually adding the identity number. So it's flagging that as an error because I've already set that parameter. Do you understand?
Yeah, that's
So,
yeah, I'm
but
with
if I
you.
use union or, I feel like we're going to get the same results because we don't have, yeah, we did. I feel like we're going to get the same result because we don't have that uniqueness in the data. This 3 and this is 5. So we should have the union of this should be 8. So this data is not really representing what I want it to do because
So should we
it's
create another one?
sorry.
Are we creating another one?
I think that would be the best thing to. I think creating another one would be because we have put a colon here that automatically adds itself. It's very difficult for SQL to spot that duplicate value because the identity is unique. So it's not saying it as a duplicate value.
Okay.
So I'm just going to create a new table now. I'm just going to create a new table and I'm going to call it student. Uh, table. And I'm just going to say name, voucher, 15, age, integer. That's all. And I'm going to create what's called. I'm going to create stuff. I'm going to do this soon. Just going to copy this and paste it. Okay, create table. So now I'm going to insert into these tables. Um, I'm just going to use student A and B. My head is not really like getting everything. Just into student A and B. Makes sense. So I run this, and I'm going to change this now to staff. And I'm gonna name this staff A and staff B. I run this. Okay. And I'm going to also run this again. Let's see the entries. So now let's read these tables separately. Staff. Like I can see I have duplicates of this. And let's see if we have now, if I use a union on this, now this is what I was trying to show you with this table. Now this is what I was trying to show you with the other one. Just that
name
because there was a
appearing.
unique identifier in those tables, it wasn't able to, it didn't bring out the data in it. So now look at this. Now I just used union to join these two tables together because they have the same structure.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what this means is the take home is that we can join two tables together as long as they have the same structure. Now, the reason why this other one, the reason it didn't work is that the identifier that we have put here, this one, makes it completely different, makes this entry different from, like, makes this first entry now different from this
From
fourth
the
entry,
Mhm.
because SQL is looking at the value that is being stored underneath that code, not really what we are seeing. We are seeing the value, right? But SQL is seeing the storage, how it's being stored. So it's quite different. So, but with this other one now, we can see now that with union, it will eliminate duplicates. Whereas if I had used union all, union all would return everything. So the take home here is that we can use union and union all in place of joins as much as we want to, but we need to ensure that the structure of the table is the same. If we try to join maybe staff to something else, maybe employee or something, we should expect to get an error because the employee table has 3 columns. Can you see? All queries combined using union intersect except operator must have this equal number of expression in their target list. So they must have the same number of columns, and the columns must be named the same way.
So they must have the same data, almost the same data.
It doesn't have to be the same data. It just means that they have to have the same structure. Now you can see that the staff has name and age, and the information in the staff is not the same thing what we have in students, right? But the student has name and age, and the information is not the same what we have in staff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you understand now?
Yeah, sure.
So that's the key take home for union and union all. Now, the case is different with joins because for joins, you don't necessarily have to have the same structure. In short, you don't even have to have the same structure. The most important thing is that you have something common with it, the tables that you're
With the
joining.
primary key.
For example, it could be the primary key, it might not be the primary key, but it might be another column that they share,
In common.
that both tables share, which is like the most important thing. But oftentimes we use primary key because it's a unique identifier. I know the other day you used a modified date to join your table. So of course it will work. And depending on the business question that you're trying to solve, you might not necessarily use a primary key every time you want to join two tables. The business question that you're trying to solve will determine, but a lot of times the primary key will be the best option, based on the structure of your table, but it's not always like that. So don't zero your mind that anytime you want to perform a join, it has to be the primary key. It could be other columns depending on the type of question that you're trying to solve. Any question?
No, not for now.
Okay. So we are also going to look at group by. So for this group by, I will be using that AdventureWorks database that we talked about the other time.
Okay.
So I'm just going to change here. Then we already know the tables. We already know the information that we have in.
Excuse me.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I don't know how they have to use the forest speaker like this.
You don't know why what? Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I just want to excuse myself from that noise, the mocks sound.
Oh, okay. All right. So now these are the tables that we have. I'm just going to look at the tables that have maybe a press category or something. So I'm just going to say select. I think it's production. So these are the entities that we have in this table. Product category name, the role ID, the modified date. Now, if we look at another table, which is subcategory, these are just the information we have here, which I do not want to use. I'm going to use the subcategory instead because that one obviously have more information. Now, this product category name is in relationship with this product category table. The product category table we just opened now. So I'm just going to open this. Just go down here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. In this particular table now, this category, we only see 1, 2, 3, 4, as you can see here. So if I join these two tables together now, anytime I see a one, I know that it is I think clothing, or do you have the these bikes? Anytime I see a one, it's relating to bikes. Every time I see a component or two, it's relating to components, and three to clothing, four to accessories. So if I group now this table by this particular column now, it can tell me how many of these products were purchased. So say we have product subcategory ID too. So each of these category has its own like subcategory. Like bikes, we have different kinds of bikes. We have mountain bikes, like you can see here. We have road bikes, we have touring bikes, still under bikes. And then under what's the other category again? Component. Under component, that's number 2. You have handlebars, bottom brackets, brakes, chains, cranksets, box headsets, pedals, wheel frames, and stuff. So if I start grouping this table now according to the category, I will be able to, see answer business questions like how many subcategories do we have, how many products are we even selling, and the other questions like that. Other sophisticated questions. These ones are basic questions. So, so if I select everything from production that's production category, right? And I'm gonna just name this PPS, and I say group by product category ID. So when I say product category ID, it's grouped by bikes, components, clothing, and accessories. So if I say product category ID, if I run this gives me an error. That is because SQL wants to know what I want you to do with the values. Do I want to return a sum of it, or a count of it, or something like that? So I need to it doesn't necessarily have to be an aggregate function anyway. It could be also the names of what I want it to be to return. But because we don't have uniform names, we have different kinds of values here. It's best that we just use the count. So if I say count now, if I just say count all as asterisks, and I run this now, it's going to tell me 3, 4, 8, and 12. So the total sum of subcategory that we have is the summation of all of this. Just that 3 would mean something, 14 would mean something, 8 would mean something else, 12 would mean something else. If we want to know what SQL is counting, we can put a name to this. We can say PPS. Now we can see now that it's now grouping by each of the subcategories. So when I said count all, it was counting the category ID 1, 2, 3, 4. But now that I'm saying give me the names. So what I want to say in essence is print out the category name, the ID, and then give me the count that you have specified. So I'm saying this category ID, the number of threes and the number of fours. So this is just giving me the summary of what I saw the other time, because the other time I was just checking the count, but this time it's now giving me the breakdown. So it's just 3, 14, 8, and 12. So the number 1 is 3 values. Number 2 is 14. If we keep going down, the third one is 8. The last one is 12. So that's the summary of what I was getting the other time. But if I just say maybe unique something, I say give me the unique values of this, and then sum up. I just sum this up. Sorry, distinct, not unique. Distinct. This is not this SQL. So I say distance of this, and then I run this. Okay, sum of that's what's asking me. So I say sum of this. So I'm getting 1 of 1, 2 of 2, 3 of 3, because it's adding it all together. So basically, okay, I think this is where this error is coming from. This one, this one. Yeah. So it's telling me now that I have 1 occurred 3 times, 2 has occurred 28 times. But if I count, because it's counting the number of 2's now in 14 places. That's why I'm getting 28. But if I change this to count now, everything makes sense. So I'm saying 1, I have the first product category, which is I think is it accessories? Okay, it's bikes, which is bikes, has 3 subcategories. The second one, which is I think clothing. Let me just check to be sure if I'm saying. I have bikes, component, clothing, and accessories. Okay. Now, what this means is that number 1, bikes has 3 subcategories. Number 2, components has 14 subcategories. 3, clothing has 8 subcategories. 4, accessories has 12 subcategories. That's what this means. Now, if we try to group this by maybe products and we want to see if that is what all of this means, we can perform a join. I'm just going to say, I'm going to perform an inner join with the products category table so that you can see what I'm trying to say. And it's going to be like I'm just picking up of context. Just going to paste this and I'm going to say PPC. I'm going to join this one. PPS dot the category ID. So we equals to PPC dot the category ID. So I want to group by this, but I need to specify the column that I'm using the category ID from. So I'm just going to say PP, the second one, which is, sorry, first one, which is PPS. So if I run this now, okay, it's telling me that something is not found, which is this. So I need to change this to PPS. Oops, oops. Okay, everything is working now, except that I've not included the names. So I'm just going to include the names. I'm going to say PPC dot names. Okay, I'm also getting an error because SQL wants to know if it's returning the duplicates or unique values. I'm just going to say these things. Okay, any error this time around? I think I'm still getting an error. Let me see where that's coming from. PPC. Yeah, should be PPC. Distance, distance. Distance. Okay, just gonna get rid of this. Gonna run this again. And let me see. PPC. It's not returning the names because let me see. Okay, the name this is invalid in this version because it is not contained in an aggregate. Okay, okay. Goodbye this and this PPC. Name. Okay, so it makes sense now. So I'm just going to return the other one, which is this products category ID. And Control C this, put a comma, put this, and that should work. Yeah. So I was having 3, 14, 8, and 12 the other time. So one, which is products category 1 bytes, has 3 subcategories. Component, which is category 2, has 14. Clothing, which is category 3, has 8. Accessories, which is category 4, has 12 subcategories. So what I was just trying to do is just to show you, I was speaking in abstract. So I just wanted to show you like what each of this means, what is in the table that it's reading from, and the interpretation of the values that we were getting. So what we've done here now, let me break this code into tiny bits, is that we have joined 2 tables together. We have joined 2 tables together using the joins, and we have also grouped it by what they have in common, which is the product category ID. Now, the product category ID in this context now allows us to fetch information from the tables that are involved. For example, I put an alias now to the product category and the product subcategory. So instead of having to call product category, subcategory every time, I just use the alias that I've used. I've named them as. Are we together?
Yes, we are together.
So I've said, okay, in this PPC, which is the product category table, I want you to fetch the name. In PPS, which is the product category, I want you to fetch the ID. In PPS, which is subcategory, I want you to fetch the category ID. And I want you to group by the category and the name. So what this means is that we can group by one variable, and we can also group by multiple entities also. So it's not just restricted to one. So group by allows you to aggregate. Using an aggregate function, you can get the summary of what you have in your data. Does it make sense, or is looking very confusing?
It's making sense, small, small.
Good to know. It's good to know that it's making sense.
Small, small.
You'll be fine. So group by is best use. You would often use group by with an aggregate function. You can see that when I wasn't using an aggregate function, SQL would throw back an error asking you what you want to do with the other columns that you've not aggregated, because it doesn't know what to return as a record. Sorry, as a result. So it brings back an error message asking you what you want to do to those records that you have not aggregated. So that was why I was getting those error messages. So now this evening we've talked about using group by with a single entity and with multiple entities. We have also combined this using an aggregate function, distinct count. We can also use other aggregates like sum, minimum, maximum, average to get the uh to re- to return our result. It doesn't have to be these methods that we have used. We have other aggregate functions that we can also use to return our results. Now, to